Hey guys, how you doing? This is Eric Johnson, Lehigh Senior High School. I live in Fort Myers, Florida with my wife Jackie, and we have two kids, Jane and JC. I currently work at Lehigh Senior High School. I'm a PE teacher and wide receiver coach. I just want to start by telling you a little bit about the Lehigh Senior High School kids. Most of our kids come from a single parent home. Most of them don't have enough food at home. Some kids don't even have lights at their home. So you can tell that the kids at Lehigh Senior High School depend on their football coaches, and they treat us as role models for them. And in turn, this job means a lot to not only myself but the rest of the coaching staff here, that we can have such an impact on a young man's life. The second thing I'm going to start off telling you is the message I give my wide receivers. When I have a new receiver come in, I always want to ask about academics, because academics is the most important thing to me. Because one day you're going to play your last snap of football, and all you have to fall back on is your academics. So I asked that kid, what type of grades do you have? And if that kid gives me an answer of 3.0, 2.7, that I understand. That kid is a kid I can count on because he's already doing it in the classroom. And how I gain my initial impression of a kid is based off of that answer. So if that kid says, hey, I got a 2.0, then I'm automatically thinking that, hey, that means you're either lazy in the classroom or it's going to take you a while to get the information. So a general rule that I have is the student you are in the classroom is the type of player you're going to be on the field for me. So if you're going to do the right things in the classroom, do your homework, be on time for class, act right. Then when it comes to time for you on the practice field or the game field, I can trust you to do your assignment, be where you're supposed to be. And that leads me into accountability. Accountability is another big thing for me. Accountability means to me it means being where you're supposed to be, doing what you're supposed to be doing. And I'm going to talk a little bit about my high school record at Brantley. As you guys may or may not know, I was in class 2005, Brantley County. I played tight end, and as a freshman, we were 0-10. We struggled. We ran a wing T offense, and my sophomore year, a new coach was brought in. We went 2-8 his first year, 3-7 when I was a junior, and my senior year we were 6-4. Now, the 6-4 year means a lot to me because we were one game short. We lost to Irwin County in the last game of the season that decided on if we go to the playoffs or not. We lost that game, and I went off to Jacksonville State University on a full athletic scholarship. When I was at Jacksonville State, around playoff time, I realized that Brantley County High School had made the playoffs. And that meant a lot to me because those kids that were on that team when I was a senior, those juniors, were able to learn some valuable information and some skills from us, and that made me as proud as if I was on the team. And I still, to this day, I look and see how Brantley County's season's going. When I go home or mom and dad come and see me, then I want to know how Brantley's doing. How's everything going? You never have, for me, that's my school. I love Lehigh Senior High School, and that's where I am. But I still think back to when I played at Brantley, and I still want Brantley to be successful, not only on the field, but also in the classroom. That's why I'm bringing you this message today. The reason I love the game of football, the reason I coach, the reason I put all the time in, and as you guys may or may not know, in Florida, you don't make a lot of money. So you're not doing it for the money. Coaching is not for the money, even in Georgia. It's not about the money with coaching. It's about taking pride in your job. It's about being a positive role model for the younger kids. It's about teaching you the game of football, which in turn, in my opinion, teaches you about the game of life. It's about the small details. It's about if coach tells you to run a 10-yard dig, you run a 10-yard dig. Because if you don't listen to coach and he tells you to run a 10-yard dig, you run a 5 and in. Ball's overthrown and it's intercepted or incomplete. You haven't done your job. You didn't pay attention to the small details. In turn, let's make it a part of life. If boss tells you to be at work at 6 o'clock and you show up at 6:05, guess what? You're fired. The game of football is as simple as doing what you're supposed to be doing. It goes back to accountability. Are you doing what you're supposed to be doing? Are you where you're supposed to be? The game of life is the same way. The next thing I like to talk to my receivers about is always being a positive role model. In the classroom, in the weight room, on the field, in the community. Always wearing your school gear. That's a big thing for us because we have 18 high schools in this area. When my kids go out, my receivers go out, I want them to always represent Lehigh Senior High School in a positive manner, because in turn they're representing me and the school I work for. Be a positive role model to younger kids who look up to you. And you guys may or may not know it, but you have younger brothers, you have teammates on your team that look up to you, that are watching your every movement. And one day when you're having a bad day, that person's looking for you for inspiration. You always have to be on your A game, because you never know who's watching. It could be a teacher, it could be just a regular student in the classroom, it could be one of your brothers on the football team. You always want to lead in a positive direction and be a positive role model for somebody who needs you. A story I tell my receivers is about pushing the cart. And it's kind of something that came to me this spring as me and my wife went to Walmart. And around here, most of the people, this Fort Myers is a bigger city from the 2-lane roads and a couple of stoplights that I grew up in. In Fort Myers, you have a ton of people. And at the Walmart I go to, we see a bunch of carts just laying around. People are just too lazy to push the cart back. And some of the things I've talked to you about effort, about accountability. This kind of brings me back to that. I told my receivers to push the cart. So every time that I go buy groceries, I push the cart back because I never know who's watching me. The same way I talk to you about being a role model, I'm in the same boat. Because if a young kid sees a football coach wearing Lehigh Senior High School not pushing his cart back, he thinks it's okay. And I want you guys to push the cart. Whenever you're out in the community, people are watching. Do the right thing. Do the right thing all the time because you never know who is watching you. Always push the cart. Don't be that guy who's lazy, too lazy to take 2 more steps and push the cart to the cart return. Just push the cart. I played in front of 75,000 people at Jacksonville State when we played Georgia Tech, Mississippi State. It doesn't feel the same as a Friday Night Lights with all your friends, all your buddies, all your boys you grew up with, and you will never get that back. Another thing that I kind of want to talk about is this motivational speaker that at Lehigh Senior High School the coaches, staff, and players adopted last year. And it's a guy by the name of Eric Thomas. And he asked, the initial video was about how do you be successful? How bad do you want to be successful? If you want to be successful, do you do that extra rep in the weight room? Do you run that extra 40-yard dash? Do you lift that extra weight? Is that something, are you willing to do whatever it takes to be successful? Or are you just doing it here and there? One day you feel okay, so you're going to do what coach tells you to do. But the next day, you're not having a good day, so you just, I'll just go home. I'm going to skip workouts, or I'm not going to give them my all in practice. How bad do you want to be successful? Are you just talking about it, or are you really doing it? And Eric Thomas kind of touches on that on this video I'm about to show you.
It was a young man who, he wanted to make a lot of money, and so he went to this guru, right? And so the guru said, if you want to be on the same level I'm on, I'll meet you tomorrow at the beach at 4 a.m. So the young man got there at 4 a.m. He all ready to rock and roll, got on the suit. He should have wore shorts. The old man grabs his hand and said, how bad do you want to be successful? He said, real bad. He said, walk on out in the water. When he walks out into the water, it goes waist deep. So this old man crazy. He's making money, but he crazy. He said, come on out a little further. He came out a little further. It was right at his mouth. My man like, I'm about to go back in here. This God is mine. So the old man said, I thought you said you wanted to be successful. He said, I do. He said, walk a little further. He came, dropped his head in, held him down, hold him down. My man getting scratching. He had him held down. Just before my man was about to pass out, he raised him up. He said, I got a question for you. He said, when you were underwater, what did you want to do? He said, I wanted to breathe. He said, when you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, then you'll be successful. I don't know how many of y'all got asthma in here today, but if you ever had an asthma attack before, you short of breath, you wheezing, the only thing you trying to do is get some air. You don't care what's on TV, you don't care about nobody calling you, you don't care about a party. The only thing you care about when you're trying to breathe is to get some fresh air. That's it. And when you get to the point where all you want to do is be successful as bad as you want to breathe, then you'll be successful. And I'm here to tell you, number one, that most of you say you want to be successful, but you don't want it bad. You just kind of want it. You don't want it badder than you want to party. You don't want it as much as you want to be cool. Most of you don't want success as much as you want to sleep. Some of you love sleep more than you love success. And I'm here to tell you today, if you're going to be successful, you got to be willing to give up sleep. You got to be willing to work off for 3 hours of sleep, 2 hours. If you really want to be successful, some days you're going to have to stay up 3 days in a row. Because if you go to sleep, you might miss the opportunity to be successful. That's how bad you gotta want it. I don't sleep. So I got an opportunity to make a dream become a reality. Most of you won't be successful because when you're studying and you get tired, you quit. Don't cry to give up, cry to keep going. Don't cry to quit. You already in pain, you already hurt. Get a reward from it. Word, no good. 1, 2, 3. Word.
So you thought it was the end of the story. So you thought just because the student was willing to be obedient to the guru and not only wake up but meet him at the beach early in the morning and taught him that the secret to success is wanting it as bad as you want to breathe. So you thought that was the end of the story? Well, you thought wrong. In fact, it's far from over. That was the easy part. Now it's time to redefine the grind. Well, you thought it was over. Well, it's just getting started. See, this is the part where life demands you make a lifelong commitment. This is the part where life demands that you make a vow, come hell or high water, that you're willing to pay the price. The full fare where you earn your spot with effort, with sweat, with blood, with tears. And so you say you want it as bad as you want to breathe. Then it's showtime. It's examination time. It's time to get tested, to test your will, your endurance. It's time to test your heart, to test your limits. This is the part where you reinvent yourself. Sleep. I don't sleep. You thought that was it? It goes deeper than going without sleep because you might miss the opportunity to succeed. No. It's about no days off, no weekends, no holidays, no birthdays. Listen to me, no days off, no half days, no holidays, no snow days. It's about gaining the competitive edge. It's about separation. It's about separating yourself from the pack, the competition. It's about being a little faster, a little stronger. Listen to me, a little faster than you were last year, last month, last week. In fact, you gotta be a little faster today than you were yesterday. And you can't afford, on the road to success, you can't afford to make excuses. No excuses when you feel pain. And trust me, you will feel it. You gotta go deep down, beyond exhaustion, beyond worn down. And when it's harder than you imagine it would be, when it takes longer than you thought it would take, and when the load is heavier than you thought you could bear, and all you want to do is give up, and all you want to do is give in, when you feel like you've given all you got, you gotta take one more step. You gotta run one more lap. You gotta throw one more punch, and regardless of how much it's going to take, you gotta fight back. And you gotta fight a little harder. You gotta defeat disappointment, annihilate weakness, and punish the competition. It's about pushing yourself beyond the limits. It's about perfecting the you, not just doing more, not just being better, but finding your best. Listen to me. It's more than wanting as bad as you want to breathe. That's not enough. You gotta be willing to face every fear, climb every mountain, defy every odd, onslaught every obstacle, one step at a time, one day at a time, until you, only you, are left standing. There's no one else or nothing in your way until you reach the top.
Now that you've seen that video, what are you willing to sacrifice to be successful? Are you willing to be that positive role model that we talked about in the classroom? Are you willing to be that leader to your brothers when you see somebody down? Are you willing to pick them up? Are you willing to lift that extra weight, to do that one more rep, to practice hard every day? Is that something that you're willing to sacrifice to be successful? My players, that they want to know a little bit about me, and they always ask, hey, Coach, how are you successful? What did you do that made you a successful player, and how did you get the scholarship to Jacksonville State? How did it all work out for you? And, I wasn't the most talented guy on my team. I just tried to outwork everybody. And that was in baseball, basketball, football. I played them all, and whatever season it was, you could find me. If it was basketball, I was shooting hoops, shooting free throws. If it was baseball, I was in the batting cage. If it was football, I was in the weight room. I was watching film. I tried to do the little things that everybody else was just missing on. I wanted to be that much better than the people that I was playing. And it was all about effort. That's the only way that I got to Jacksonville State. The thing that drove me to be successful was, my mom and dad did everything in the world for me. They were always there for me, always pushing me to be successful in the classroom, on the field, and my coaches, they always, used to push me in the weight room, used to push me on the field. You can do better, you can do better. And when it got time for a game or it got time for a test, I always tried to do my best. I was prepared. And when that test came, I didn't want to let anybody down. That was my biggest fear. I was scared that I wouldn't be prepared. I wouldn't have done all the little things I needed to do to be successful, and I'd let somebody down. Made it to where I've made it all because of my effort, not because I was the most talented. It's all about effort. It takes no talent to give effort, and that's what you guys need to do. Give all the effort you have. It doesn't matter if you're the best player on the team or the worst player on the team. Outwork everybody. That's going to come back to you. And for you seniors and even the freshmen, take advantage of every opportunity you have. You never know when you're going to play your last snap. As we talked about earlier, those Friday Night Lights are special. You have 4 years, 40 games, and your career is over. That's all that's promised to you. 10 games a year. Take advantage of every snap, every practice, every session in the weight room. Take advantage of it. Enjoy each other. Become that brotherhood we talked about. Because you won't get that back. That feeling does not come back very easily. Remember, leave a legacy for the players who will play behind you. That's the way I looked at it when I played. I wanted to teach those juniors 06. I want to teach 07. This is what we've built. Now, take it a step further. Do one more better. Win one more game than we did. Make it to the playoffs. Go to the second round. And that's where you guys have to leave that legacy. So the players behind you, they know who you are. They know why they're there. I've sat in the same seats you're probably sitting in right now. I've worked out in the same field house you guys are working out, changed in the same locker room, played on the same field, practiced on the same field. I've been exactly where you are right now. I've done it all. You guys can make it, but it's all going to start with your academics. Get your academics right. It's going to start with you listening to the coach. Do what the coaches tell you to do. Be accountable. Be disciplined. Pay attention to the small details. Being a positive role model. That's going to make you successful in life. Always push the cart. You never know who's watching. Hopefully you guys will take one thing from this message and apply it to your everyday life. Buckle down in the classroom. Trust your coaches. Be accountable. Concentrate on the small details that everybody else is forgetting about. And I want to leave you with one thing. Effort is between you and you. No one else can control that but you. Good luck this season.